all you devils out there. Happy Friday. Here we go. A little bit after 2 for me here. Oh, okay. I'm going to keep this one kind of short and sweet. Of course, we'll start here at Bitcoin. I've got a 30-minute up over here on Bitstamp. It appears that we're headed down here towards these lower 90s, right? That's based on the Elliott count as it sits right now. Right now, things can change, of course. But as we sit here, it does look like this is what's underway. Even though this is we get a little wonky here. It looks like I've got 5 down, 3 up here, and then it does indeed look like I've got a 1, a 2, and then I'm working through the impulse here that's going to take me down for a 3, 4, and then a 5. That, of course, we're projecting, right? If we're trying to predict the price action here, which is, things can change, but certainly right now, this seems to be the path of least resistance. Now, the thing to take note of here, of course, is this. Oh, sure. Let me get a square, right? This massive, just big gap we have here. So if we get a little lower here, we get into some of this lower ledge area here. We know the market likes to hold these edges, and then if it breaks, go to the next edge. You could see how that might tee us up for the 3 here. If I go for the inside, that would be the larger count. Before we can get a 3, a 4, and a 5, we got to get the inside to complete. So the potential here for the 1, 2, 3 going in, right? It's not going to go in a straight line, most likely. 3, maybe we get something 4, and then we come down for the 5 of 3. That seems to be the impulse that we're in at the moment. Obvious liquidity spots here are being targeted. Now, this has already been swept. This has now been swept. These swept, right? So all the liquidity locations that you would, well, if it was going there, right, that looks like the obvious location. Those have all been tapped. So to get more, right now we're just looking for, okay, where is there potential liquidity here or an imbalance here? And of course, the big gap here, which draw it over here, is tied to how quickly we went up. So we can anticipate potentially if we're coming that low, potentially here could be a quick move here down to the lower edge here, which would put us at the one that would be the 1618 of this internal swing, or the internal impulse, I should say. Push this off just so we don't have too many lines here. So the 1, 2, we're looking for that 3. Now, again, not likely to do it in a straight line. Maybe we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that to come. If I push this off here, kick back for the 4. So that's what an Elliottician would be anticipating. Now, of course, things can change. This gets a little funky here. It does look like we may have to do a bit of a truncation here. Granted, we have some wild cards in the background here, some variables here that are a bit unusual with the political tensions and the war bombs and war threats, right? All of that going on certainly makes the market nervous, and then risk assets tend to be sold. Now, before you start thinking, oh God, I should just get out of my Bitcoin, it was slow down, because hang on. Okay, right. Sorry, this is a brief interruption. Again, the geopolitical tensions here, risk off. Okay, well, let's keep an eye on what the ETFs are doing. Right, they're, as you might anticipate, right? Any sort of weakness. Again, this is the downside of trading with leverage. You get stopped out because of some of this geopolitical tension here. All you're doing is you're giving your Bitcoin to BlackRock or MicroStrategy or one of the institutions that are now buying with both hands, and they are going to continue to buy, right? So don't give them your Bitcoin. You'll be so sad about that. So I just encourage you to try and avoid here as we go through some of this, trying to avoid levering up here, as tempting as that is. Oh God, look how much I'll make if I'm right, right? It's not the goal to be right. The goal is to be profitable, right? And the number one goal with Bitcoin is to hang on to your Bitcoin. So careful in here. Now we can kind of just draw this up here and say, okay, well, this is quite the consolidation we've been in, as we have put in this high up here at 112 and then tried to wrestle with it. As I will continue to say, the retrace down here, if we do come down here, even though I know, yes, my portfolio will drop too, this is healthy for the market. The idea that this could be a 2 starts to get stronger. Should we come down to a 50, right? And you can see the nice big, this is hard to miss down here. Should we come down here, right? We could probably draw it off to this consolidation. Should we come down here, that's good news in my book, not bad news. Right, it just makes for a healthier market if the opportunity to be buying down here. Now, I would be a buyer down here, but I wouldn't sure as heck not be buying with leverage. Now, that's just my approach to it. You might feel differently. Feel free, right? We can't tell you what to do. I just some things to think about. Right, weakness. Right, when institutions are buying, don't give it to them. Okay, all right. So let me move on from that. Okay, let's take a look at XRP. I am quite long here. If Bitcoin's coming down, right, Ripple's likely to come down with it. This count here is we're hanging on to the idea that this is still likely within the 4 territory, that we don't want it going deeper like a 2. Is the same thing with Bitcoin. We start to get in below some of this area of consolidation here, as I've got outlined here with the volume profile, which I believe I started it here over on this low. We start to drop lower here, it's going to be a little nerve-wracking. I am also not in here with leverage, right? I'm a long-term believer that this has 10, 12, 15, lots of potential upside here. So the assumption here, right, as most of us just looking at this is accumulation. So we need to get through all the hurdles that are holding XRP back. But long-term, I still think this is a reasonable spot to be positioned, again, without leverage, so that you can take advantage should we get the push here to new highs. What's our all-time high? 340, pushing up into the 4, 5, 10, even 10, 12. We get that potential. You don't want to be missing it, and what you don't want to be doing is chasing it, right? So if you can nibble in here, maybe we get a little bit lower here. The edge of the volume profile here would be an interesting area. Where's the liquidity? Right? That's always a question you got to ask yourself. Right? Okay, well, if we're coming lower, well, this was a liquidity sweep. We could come back and sweep this. We've got this down here, untouched. That low, okay, we're getting into the little danger zone there. So let's hope that this doesn't become the obvious liquidity point for institutions and for the algos to be seeking. Right, this is just sitting here, screaming like, "Come get me," just as this was. Right, so you can see. It's pretty obvious, right? This was the sweep of liquidity for this, right? Now, we don't want that repeated over here to where they've got to sweep it. But if so, again, depending on what your risk tolerance is and how much capital you have allocated here, how much you can tolerate, this wouldn't necessarily be a bad area to be, should we get should we get the classic push here where we're going to come down, sweep this, and then pop back up, that would be another entry location, trying to get this off. That would be the 1 of the 5th. Now, can we get that? Remains to be seen. But right now, sitting here, I certainly think this might not be a great spot to be buying, because I think per the Elliott count as we look at it here, if this is indeed an A and we've gone A, B, C into this double top here, which is, liquidity, that's a true double. Looks like we've got a 5, 3, 5 here, and working with that wick. If I bring this down, probably be a little easier to spot. For the B here, A, B, it's a little kinky, right? It's a little bit, right? Again, at least not perfect, right? Don't expect it to be perfect everywhere in every location. Often you've got to go with what's implied, right? So here, this has got a 1 tick overlap here of the 1, but I still would call that an A, right? So it's certainly not corrective. So A, B, C, what else are you going to call it? 1, 2, 1. No, think not. All right, so now this is the next liquidity spot here, as we were just talking about, right? Right here, likely that gets swept. Perhaps that sets up the 1, 2, right? As we come 1, sweep the liquidity, come back for the 2, and then heading down. We just hopefully we're not going too far. Right? Per the count as it is now, if this holds as the A and then the B, we're looking for an impulse, or I should say a 5 down here. Listen, trust me, I'm going to be a little uncomfortable if we get below $2, 190. I'm not saying it's fun. I'm just saying you got to be thinking strategically long term, right? Would that be a buying opportunity, or would that be like, oh my God, I got to get out? Right? Because you're trying to be careful about reacting emotionally, right? When you're under pressure, that's when you make bad decisions, right? So if you're levered or uncomfortable or over your skis, or you got too much size on, consider reducing a little bit to whatever it is to get you to where you're comfortable, to where you're not freaking out. Oh my God, it broke 2. Oh my God, it broke 190, right? You don't want to be there. You'll make irrational decisions, and that's usually not good for your long-term results. So nerve-wracking, yeah. Money at risk, it's always going to be some nerves there, here and there. Okay, I'm going to, what am I at? 9? God, this will be my shortest ever. All right, until we're not even worth all the alts, right? It's going to follow Bitcoin, most likely, right? Some won't, but the majority, the majors, right? If Bitcoin keeps going down, that's going to pull the alts with it. So we'll look at, we've looked at SOL and Solana and SUI, right? It looks like they're doing the same thing. It looks like we've got the B in and we've gone 1, 2. They're coming down here. Here's demand, and this is left over from the live stream. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time here because I gave that a lot of attention. Same thing here with SUI. It's the same thing, right? We got an impulse up. Now we're going through the correction. It looks like it's WX, and we're going to do an ABC golden zone down here waiting. We got a demand zone, untapped order flow. I'm on Femex here, so I actually could do this from this low, right? So, okay, we broke out of the value area. Here's another big high volume node down here just waiting, right? It's tied to that order flow. Go up too fast. Now we're eating into that imbalance here. Here we're right on the edge. The edge of the ledge edge, right? So if we too much further, right, well, we're going to go right to this ledge here, which happens to line up with the golden zone. So one to be watching for. Right. Again, my suggestion is never to sit here with a limit order. Let the reaction happen. Whoa, reaction. Oh, okay. Now I'll take, maybe there's an imbalance, fair value gap, order block, breaker block, something in there that would give you like, oh, okay, well, this looks like it. Because look, now my risk is defined. I can see it clearly. And it makes sense because the assumption would be that pivot is good. And as we kind of went off on this on the live stream on Wednesday, every decision, that's the only decision you're ever making. I don't care where we are. On any chart, at any time frame. The only decision you're ever making is which side it's going to break. We're going to internal go external. Or we're going to go break this one and go external here. That's it. That's it. There is no place where that's not the decision. That's it. Always, forever, and ever and ever. So if we get this, right, what you're hoping for is that. Okay. Correct it. That's why we want to buy on the correction, right? Lower risk, higher return. Right. That's not how many teach it, but that's how I would teach it. Right, a lot of ways to skin the cat. This is just what we teach. Right? If it clicks with you, maybe you want to come over, get in our Discord, take a look at our belt system, some of the things, right? You'll note, right? Every video I've ever done, it's always the same thing every time, right? Same thing, always, right? That's our edge. At least that's what we believe is our edge, right? Okay, so with that said, let me finish up here with the S&P as this is getting interesting. Okay, I'm on the futures here because it's always a little trickier on the SPX because of all the daily gaps that you have here. This is we still have this is a kind of a bitch because it looks like we may have truncated here. It would be a cleaner finish if this is the truncation, then we go right into this one. If I have to do another 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, we've talked about this quite a bit, right? That's a high-class problem. If I have another 1, 2 in here, well, that means I've got another 3, 4, 5 to go up here. What you'll notice here is that if it's 1, 2, I've got this long, what appears to be the extension here. I'm at a log scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like I've got the 3 here. Point of control, right? So it would make sense if that's the 1, 2. It looked like, we're going to come up here and we'll put the 3 over here. But now, as we look here, it doesn't look like that's going to fly. Like we can do it. Now, again, things can change. But this certainly appears to be corrective, right? So it looks like it's A, B, C going in here. Oh, let me give this take it up just to be consistent. Let's put that in. What do I not use here? We'll put that in blue. So because I've got what certainly appears to be a pretty strong candidate for a 5 down. So I would call that an A wave. And it looks like I got another A wave. Now, one thought would be, oh, is that the 4 and that's the 5 and we're just going to clip it by a little bit? Okay, possibly. But you can see the alternate count here would be, oh, that's the A. We've gone A, B, C, and now we're going to come to, oh, shit, could it be? I suppose it could be a WXY. We could go 1, 2, 3, oh, Jesus, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Okay, again, we'll deal with that if we get there because this looks like I got 3, 3, maybe a diag coming into this. The other possibility here is that we're going to go into a triangle because we're in the midst of what proposed would be a 4 wave 4. So could this be A, B, C, D, E? We're going to do some sort of a triangle. Very hard to predict a triangle until you're right at the E wave, right? So essentially we'd be predicting that we've gone A, B, C, D, E. Okay, well, I don't even have a C. I got to get a D and an E, right, before I go higher. But what you'll notice here is that tends to balance a little bit better with the size of this 2 and length of time. That's why the 2, this being the 4, well, first off, it looks like a 5. You know, do we have to do a little Elliott shuffle here to call it a WX? Maybe. This would be, I'm very hedged up here because 1, okay, we're at all-time highs. 2, we've got the geopolitical drama in the background. So while most of my portfolio is long in traditional assets here in the equity markets, I keep a hedge on, which is maybe something to think about. I haven't started buying crude yet because let's see what happens, right? It's always 2 weeks out, 2 weeks out. Everything's 2 weeks out because it's all political theater anyway. So 1, 2. What's the one thing we can say here, right? We're just kind of consolidating, going sideways at this high volume here. If we break too much farther, right? We certainly want to keep an eye on this one wave here, this potential high. So if we look at where that would line up with just traditional Elliott, right? If that's the 3 and we're going to go expanding. Oh, no, I do have a 4, right? So if we're pocket right here, where's the high probability location for a wave 4 between the 23 and the 38? Oh, let me change that to something bullish, right? If we come into this zone here, if the C comes in down here, okay, good, right? That would make sense. Where's the liquidity? Right, you got to ask yourself, where's the liquidity algos would be going for? Right there. That would be your liquidity, right? If we start coming lower, that will be the obvious target. Sweep it into the 38, put in the 4, up to the 5. Not unreasonable, but that's a big forecast, right? Okay, let me get a 5 down here. Then I'll start to lean into it. Of course, same thing, right? Same thing. Swing, retrace. I'll take that one. Looking for that. If we get this, remember, that would be a big break of structure. What do we anticipate after the break of structure? Retrace, right? So if that's, same thing, right? Just right by the numbers. If that we were to go up and do that, where are we looking for the retrace? Oh, fuck, come here. Right. Down here, right? We got a lot of, we'll talk about unmitigated order flow. Right, all down here. Ripe. Now, let's see. A lot has to happen, but as I map it out, that's what I see. Right? Maybe you see it differently. Of course, act accordingly. But just some things to think about. Okay, there we go. God, 17. New world record. Shortest video I've ever done. Okay, we'll be back next week. Just a reminder, of course, as always, free to join our Discord. Belt system, that's where we'd like to see you go, right? If you're interested in developing this skill set, white belt's free. That's kind of a starter. And, different levels of access within our Discord here based on, if you want to invest a little capital into the experience with us and get perhaps more education out of it. We have both a light version here to get you into all the channels, and then the belt system is where you really drill this home. Where you go through the belt system, you're going to know this well, right? We designed it that way. Okay, guys, with that, I'll wish you a good weekend. Let's hope for the best here. Hopefully things calm down worldwide. And we'll all live to trade another day. Okay, guys, have a good one. We'll catch you next week.